Knox is officially a big boy. We moved him out of his crib a few months ago, and I don't know why I was so worried about it. I think he was never a climber, so I wanted him to stay in his crib as long as possible because I was afraid he'd be one of those kids that ended up in our bed every night, and we always wanted to make sure we didn't end up with a family bed. So we had one of those cribs that has the removable rail. So all we had to do was take off the front part of the crib and put on a toddler rail. And so now Knox can just climb in and out of his bed. However, we don't want him doing that all night long, so we did a few things to kind of prepare. First, I talked to all my friends who had moved their kids into toddler beds, and I got all of their advice. Then, we explained to Knox what was happening beforehand. You are a big boy, this weekend we're going to make you into a big boy bed. And then, on the day that I took the rail off, I let him help. So he handed me my screwdriver and helped me take it off, and he helped me put the toddler rail back on. So that was great because he got to feel like he was a part of something. Then we talked every night that week about emergencies. So we don't really want you getting up out of your bed all night because you need to be sleeping. But there are a few emergencies, and if you have any of those, you can definitely get out of bed. One emergency is in case he needs to go to the potty. He definitely can come and wake up mommy and daddy if he needs to potty. Another emergency is if he had a bad dream. I said, and can you think of any emergencies? There shouldn't really be any other reason for you to get up, right? And he said, well, what if I throw up? I go, yep, you're right, I'm wrong. There's one more emergency. If you throw up, you may come and get me. And you know what? When we went to bed that night, we were worried, but we shouldn't have been because he stayed put. I don't know if he didn't even realize all the independence he had. Now, a couple nights later, we started to hear footsteps upstairs, and we knew we had a little prowler. So we would come up and he'd hear us and he'd say, Mommy, I had an emergency. And I was like, what emergency? He'd say, I had a bad dream. I'd be like, what was it? And he'd say, oh, I just had a bad dream about going downstairs. Like, doesn't even make sense. So he's clever, he tries to push us, but we were consistent. And this is, I think, really important. We were consistent about taking him back to his bed. Even though he maybe wanted to get in bed with us, we were consistent about, oh, you had a bad dream? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm gonna walk you back to your bed and rub your back a little bit and help you fall back asleep. And he loves his bed. I know that there are more progressive weighting Ferber techniques for toddlers where if they're getting out of the bed, you can hold the door for like a minute and just talk to your child through the door because you don't want to scare them. But we haven't really had to use any of those tactics. I think a lot of times just talking to your kid beforehand and then being consistent throughout works. So far, it's pretty much worked for us for every milestone or every new change that has come along. Let me know about the toddler bed for you. How is your big boy or big girl doing? Leave comments below. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate all the clicks and all the views and all the comments, and I love hearing about your kids too.